Okay. Shut our emergency door. On the way back up through the bus, we're going to check the seat backs, make sure there's no vandalism or damage to the seat backs. Also checking the upper part of the seat frames, make sure that they're not broken. Okay. We're also going to mention that the bus is equipped with 2 emergency roof hatches and 4 emergency exit windows. During the test, you would ask the examiner which he would like you to demonstrate. To work the hatch, you turn the knob to exit and then push up and punch the red knob in. Okay, the emergency lights and buzzers should come on, and then you line it back up in the groove and then turn the knob back to latch. Okay, we're also going to check the windows, make sure they open and close freely, and the emergency lights and buzzer should come on when you open the emergency window and go off when it's latched back down. You can, if you do that, you can see the strobe light reflecting in the back of the bus. Okay, during the test, they may ask you to shut the bus off or leave it running. For this, we'll go ahead and shut it off. First, I'm going to open my service door. Make sure it opens freely and the stepwell light comes on. I'm going to turn the bus off and then turn it back to the on position. And then I'm going to reactivate my warning lights. Okay, that should kick the reds back on. And the hazards and the headlights are still on. Okay, we're going to grab the handrail as we come off the bus. And we're going to make sure our outside step light is illuminated. We're going to check the mirror brackets to make sure they're securely fastened with the bolts. Also, we're going to tug on them, make sure they're not loose. We're going to thump our tires. Okay, if we had an air pressure gauge, we would check to make sure there's at least 100 pounds of pressure in the tire. Okay, in the front of the bus, we're going to start from top and work our way down. We're going to check our 5 clearance lights. Make sure they're illuminated, the lenses aren't excessively dirty, cracked or broken. Our reds should be alternating left to right, and the lens is not cracked, broken, or dirty. Okay, check the headlights. Make sure the lenses on the headlights are not cracked, broken, or dirty, and that our low beams are working. Okay, we want to make sure that we still have our registration on the front. And we're going to check under the bus for any fresh fluid, fuel, transmission fluid, oil, coolant, since we've had the bus running for a few minutes. Okay, we'll check the battery box. Make sure the door opens and closes freely. In the battery box, we're going to check the battery terminals to make sure there's no excessive corrosion and that the wires aren't burnt or frayed in any way, and they're securely connected from the batteries to the main wiring harness. Okay, we're going to check our stop sign, make sure the lights are alternating up and down. Check the air bladder, make sure there's no air leaking out of the air bladder, and that our tether is in place and not broken. We're also going to make sure that the stop arm unit is securely mounted to the side of the bus. And then we're going to take a step back. Wait, zoom on this. And we're going to check our 3 upper clearance lights. First 2 are yellow. The rear one is red. Make sure they're lit. The lenses aren't cracked, broken, or missing. Okay, and then we're going to check the reflective tape. Make sure it's on the side of the bus, around the emergency exit windows, and along the rub rails. Make sure it's present and not missing or coming off the bus. We'll check the reflectors. 2 yellow ones, and then the one in the rear should be red. And we're also looking to make sure the windows aren't cracked, broken. Also checking for vandalism, new dents or scratches that might be on the bus. Okay, we're going to look under the bus. We're going to check our air storage tanks. We have our primary air tank, secondary air tank. Make sure they're up in the hangars. They're not leaking air. There's no puncture marks. There's no dents or cracks in the tanks. And they're securely mounted in that hangar. Okay, we're also going to check while we're under here any air lines that we can see. Make sure there's no damage to them. We're going to check the frame rails. Make sure they're not bent, cracked, broken, or welded. We're going to check the drive shaft. And we're going to make sure that where the links meet together, that the U-joints are in good shape, they're not broken, and that the drive shaft is in its hangars. And then we're going to check the differential in the rear, where the drive shaft connects into the rear end of the bus. Okay. And then in the back of the bus, we're going to check the air lines and the ABS lines. Make sure that the air lines aren't bulged or cracked or leaking air. The ABS line should be attached to the air line. Make sure that it is not burnt or frayed. Okay, we're going to check the air chamber. Make sure that the clamps are securely in place. They're not, the air chamber's not dented or missing or broken in any way. Okay, we will check the slack adjuster. Make sure it's no more than a 90-degree angle with the brakes released. The push rod should be no more than an inch with the brakes released and the push rod's not broken or twisted. Okay, we will check the inside of our rims. Make sure that the brake drums have at least a quarter of an inch of lining and there's adequate lining on the brake pads. Okay, check the leaf springs in the mounts. Make sure that the mounts are securely attached to the frame and the springs are attached to the mounts. Make sure the springs aren't cracked, broken, or shifted within the mounts. And then we will also check the U-bolts. Make sure they're securely in place, attaching the leaf springs to the rear axle. Okay, we're also going to check in between the tires. Make sure there's no balls, basketball, soccer ball, any heads, any cones or anything stuck in between the tires. Okay, we would check the